there are growing concerns over the rising insecurity during this lockdown. A lot of communities have been under attack by robbers and bandits across the country. A lot of Nigerians have resorted to self-help, turning to vigilantes to protect their lives and property. Joining me now via Skype to discuss this is Kelechi OBIAKWATA, Managing Director, SARABEL Logistics and Security Services Limited. It's nice to have you join me this morning, Kelechi. Now, I know you have been following and even understand the dynamics of insecurity in parts of the country right now, even more than we do. Now, make us understand, now that there is a lockdown, there seem to be rising or spiking cases of insecurity here and there, and people are resorting to self-help one way or the other. Talk to us, what is happening? Why is this happening at this time?
It's not very surprising that the situation has degenerated to what we have now. It began with the way the lockdown started, the dissemination of information and the preparedness on the part of government. The lockdown, although Lagos State started it, but it was like a very kind of emergency measure to curtail the situation until the federal government came into it. So people were not properly prepared, I mean emotionally, psychologically, as well as economically. The shutdown came suddenly, and so people went home without hope of what to eat. And the little reserve they had initially got exhausted, and of course, they had to look for something to do, especially those without anything for themselves. So that's why we see the situation that we are facing now, around Lagos especially. One, people were asked not to go to work. People live day by day. They go out every day and come back with what to eat. For such people, they got exhausted within a very short time. And the way the palliative is being distributed is lackluster. Many people are still complaining that they didn't get anything. And few instances where people got something, it was very laughable because they showed a small bag of rice and beans and a loaf of bread for a whole community. So that was the beginning of the present challenge that we have. People have exhausted their personal means. There is no palliative, there is no help anywhere. So food security is another aspect of security apart from physical security. So people are already insecure. They don't have anything to eat, and they have family, children, and wives and husbands to take care of. So for that reason, you could expect that we have more reasons for insecurity around the country and especially in Lagos.
All right. Now, I know you have seen some of the viral videos that have gone out. We've seen some from Bariga, some from Mushi, Agege, and even parts of Ikorodu, where people have to turn out by themselves to try to protect the street or protect the entire state. What signs are these sending out?
Well, it's creating a lot of fear and panic among the populace. There is no doubt yet that in times like this, hoodlums, criminally minded people might take advantage of the fact that so many places are locked up and maybe without adequate security. So they could go to attack and, try to destabilize such places. But the fact, the present situation where communities, estates, people had to, arm themselves and run through the streets to look for what they call the 1 million boys is exacerbating the already critical situation. And in the midst of that, it appears that even the people trying to fight the, in quote, the mirage called 1 million boys might turn around themselves to create the same problem that they have come out to fight. So I think the best thing is to allow the government security agencies, private security organizations, and those who their duty this time is to protect the state and the people to take control instead of allowing communities to do that in a very primitive way. I understand, yes, it's important that community policing at this point is very necessary, but it has to be in the most organized way. It has to be by way of sharing information to the authorities so that something could be done. But the way the communities are responding and reacting to this will create much more problem than is expected to solve.
All right, now, but in a situation where we've heard some commendation for the police in some of the areas when it comes to their rising to the occasion. You mentioned the 1 million boys earlier on. But for some of those things to even have happened, on the whole, do you think the police and security agencies are overwhelmed?
I wouldn't think so right now, because yes, it's true. Like I said before, there have been pockets of attacks to various residents in certain locations. I don't think that the police is overwhelmed yet. What is expected of residents or the populace is to be vigilant and to report to the police. Numbers have been published. Emergency numbers have been published for this period, that if you see anything, you should call the police or the nearest security agency. They are very...
You're watching TVC Breakfast. There are growing concerns over the rising insecurity during this lockdown. A number and a lot of communities have been under attack by robbers and bandits across the country. A lot of Nigerians have resorted to self-help, turning to vigilantes to protect their lives and property. Joining me now on Skype to discuss this is Kelechi OBIAKWATA. He's the Managing Director, SARABEL Logistics and Security Services. It's nice to have you join me right now, Kelechi. Now, when it comes to the issue of, let me put it this way. We've heard the government and even police chiefs say that the role of security is not for the police alone. It is the duty of everyone to ensure that there is security by collaborating one way or the other. Talk to us about government collaboration with private security agencies in curbing the security situation now, seeing that to a great extent it seems the police is overwhelmed, even though they have the capacity to handle the situation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mike. This is an opportunity, a great one indeed, for the government security agencies to collaborate with the private security sector, which is a quite organized sector. And as a matter of fact, the private security organization in Nigeria, is well spread. It's spread throughout all the nooks and crannies of the nation, and that is such a veritable advantage for government to use the private security organization even in this time of pandemic. One, it will give them the advantage of information. It will also give them the advantage of protection. It will help them to organize communities to be ready and to be able to protect themselves even in this critical situation. So there is need for for government security agencies to collaborate with private security organizations, like I said, which is quite organized and who has a very effective leadership that can bring to table its members to see what could be done, in this emergency to ensure the security of lives and the properties.
All right. Now, there are talks about the likelihood of extending the lockdown in the states that are on lockdown already, and even extend to other states that numbers of COVID-19 cases are increasing. Now, the NLC on the papers this morning is saying that there could likely be an unrest following the lockdown, where people are getting uncomfortable with staying at home because of hunger and all of that. Now, translating that to the challenges it might pose on security, what are you foreseeing? What are you seeing?
Yes, seriously speaking, it will impose a lot of security challenge going forward. But I expect the government to do more this time around than they've done previously. Reason being that, yes, let's say that in the first instance it was trial and error, but now they are in position to understand the situation very well. One, the key problem, the Nigerians are ready to stay at home if they have food to eat, if they have light, to relax and watch television and watch news. I'm not sure anybody will be so much worried to be going outside, especially when it is quite clear that this disease is very dangerous and it kills en masse. And therefore, government should take this into cognizance to make adequate preparation for palliatives. The way and manner they distributed palliative before now is very shoddy. And I expect a state like Lagos State to do far better than other states, because I know previously Lagos State have been taking population tolls of its people. There is, if you go through the state, every land, every property is being known by the state and taken care of. And landlords are paying property rates and order, which means the state knows, understands the demography of the state very well, knows where the low income people are staying, knows where the high income people are staying, and knows who to best take care of at this point in time. So it shouldn't be a problem for a state like Lagos to be able to distribute the palliative in such a way that people will be happy. Going also on the political platform, the ruling party APC has its mainstream in Lagos, and they are well distributed. Each community or each zone has a councillor, and they have a way to use these councillors to mobilize the people within that community to distribute palliatives to them. Again, looking at it globally in the federal government, we have voters card. Many people were made to vote. There is, good knowledge of Nigerians within the government, statistics. So there should be no reason why Nigerians at this time, before they call us in again, not to be, taken care of. And if that is not done, we should expect that the security situation will escalate. Why? Because people have already watched televisions to see what happened in other countries of the world, where how people entered the street, broke shops, and picked food. At this point in time, you will not say they are outrightly stealing, though that is what it is, but people need to survive. And the COVID pandemic is killing people, yes, but you have to live to take care of yourself. If hunger had to kill you, some people will prefer to live, to take care of themselves instead of allowing hunger to kill them. So I think that whereas we're looking at physical security, the government should also look at food security, because security in essence is absence of threat and harm. And if we're scared of the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, which is actually very serious, people are also scared of dying, through hunger, staying in their homes. So basically, I want the government to call out, because, outside this claim, what has happened is that government engaged every visible, group to support it at this time. So there is no reason why government cannot even bring in the churches, the mosque, all charity organizations, even private organizations, and sit together to look at how, they can plan to make sure that people get the needed food and, sustenance within this period. If they do that, I bet you that problem will reduce drastically. So my recommendation at this point is that
All right. So it means there is no excuse. We have to leave you here now. Thank you very much, Kelechi OBIAKWATA, for talking to us on TVC Breakfast.